I'm always curious, like a little bit skeptical, a little chaotic. So I think that's the way you also have to approach AI. Like you have to be curious.
We are surrounded by content. Content shapes who we follow, how we lead, what we buy, and even what we believe. Welcome to the Content Generation Podcast, a class intercom production where we focus on the stories that come to life in schools all over the world. We highlight the students, educators, and communities who share the content that shapes our future. Welcome back. It is 2026, and we are here with the Content Generation Podcast. Dr. Jill, it is great to be back in studio.
I know. I can't believe it's 2026 already, but I'm glad to be here.
We had a little break, but we've got some recordings and excited to kick those out. I know Cristina is a really close personal friend of yours. Mm-hmm. I get a chance to catch up with her from time to time, and this was a great chance to hear some of what she's doing professionally and a little recap of 2025 with her.
Yeah, it's so fun to take people who you meet professionally. I mean, we met Cristina in the president's suite in a party room at NSPRA one year, and but it shows you that a lot of professional conversations happen there, and it's where you meet people that are like-minded and that you can learn from and that challenge you and lift you up and bring you joy as well. And that's definitely what Christina's done for me.
Absolutely. I don't want to cover any of the negatives of last year. The Browns did not have a great year, but Cristina has been positive and has brought a lot of light to a lot of people throughout this communications crowd, and really exciting to hear from her. Also to hear more about what she's doing professionally. We talked a bit about AI, and I think that's a topic on everybody's mind, is how our jobs are changing, how the role of communications is changing, how are parents in the community starting to listen.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. And I think that's so true about AI. And Christina's one of my go-to people when I'm looking for an AI tool to specifically do something, or am curious about it before I dive in, because she's definitely probably 3 steps ahead of me. I was going to say 1 step, but probably 3 steps ahead of me on most of those. And she doesn't feel like an expert, but she really is. And she really is a leader in the communications community, and always open and willing to share. But I think she's also brought to the forefront the concerns that these raise, for privacy and other issues, and those things that we hold close to us in terms of diligence in the public school setting.
Well, you nailed it. She mentions to me that she asked AI what questions she'd be asked in this podcast, and it definitely nailed some of those, which is fantastic. Just hearing the way that she's processing things, stuff she shared here online, stuff she shares offline on how that's affecting the role of communications, I think is fantastic examples. And so I'm really excited to see her continue in leadership roles throughout the communications friends that we have.
Awesome. Can't wait for everyone who's listening to learn from her, and hopefully befriend her someday too.
And welcome back to the Content Generation Podcast. Well, welcome to the Content Generation Podcast. I am so excited to introduce a friend, a school PR communicator, somebody that many of you know. Welcome, Cristina.
Thanks, Ben. Happy to be here.
Well, it's good to have you on the podcast. I think, we were chatting a little bit beforehand, and I was like, I feel like I know you so well. Is there anything I can't tell people? And Cristina says, I'm an open book. So let's go. But I do want to, for those people who don't know you, I want to help them get to know a little bit of your background. How did you end up in a school communications role?
I actually love this story about myself. So, when you're a kid, you always get asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? My answer was always teacher. So for one reason or another, I just never pursued it. I actually started out in college in an advertising program, ended up transferring to another school, switched just to major in business with a focus in marketing and management. Had a bunch of marketing internships and jobs in the private sector, Then I landed a marketing manager position with a local bread manufacturer. It's an Italian family-run business, so I fit right in, obviously. And I loved it, but it just didn't fulfill me. I mean, it was bread. So I wanted to find something else, saw an opening with Berea City Schools and 2 other districts. They all offered me interviews. So that was kind of incredible at the time. Like, 3 districts saw something in me. So I interviewed with all 3, had a second interview with Berea. They offered me the job. I accepted, pulled myself out of the process with the other districts. And here I am 10 years later. And it was absolutely the right choice.
Well, that's awesome. From bread to school comms.
Right.
Anything we need to know about bread before we move on?
There's a lot of bad bread out there.
Oh, okay. Avoid the bad bread.
Go to your local baker. Nothing against the company I used to work for, but go to your local mom and pop bakery.
Awesome. So you've moved into this 10 years. You've been in school comms, and I see you dotting the landscape around the country. We've connected at President Summit, a number of those things, and you've been doing a lot of things from a leadership perspective in school comms. But tell me a little bit about your school district and what makes it unique.
So my school district, what makes it a little bit unique and challenging at the same time. So we are a combination of 3 cities. So we have 3 mayors, 3 police chiefs, 3 fire chiefs, just 3 of everything. So, and each city is even a little bit different as far as, student needs. One of our cities has a higher population of free and reduced lunch population, so that just balancing all of that also is a challenge. But our diversity, I would say, is our strength. Of just we're always trying to find ways to connect the 3 cities, because there's this whole long history. We're called Berea City School District. Berea is one of our cities, but the other 2 cities are Middleburg Heights and Brook Park. So those 2 cities are why is it always Berea? Marsha.
Yeah.
So we have that a lot. So that's a balance. It's a weird thing. It does make us a little bit unique. But we like a lot of districts, we have consolidated over the years. When I started, we were 7 schools. We're down to 5. That's a whole other thing. So we used to have 2 high schools. We had Berea High School. We had Mid Park High School. And actually, just before I started, they merged into 1 high school. So now we also have the challenge of having 2 former alumni associations. And then we combine high schools. And those alumni associations, they are very much, strongly aligned with their old high school. They don't really see themselves as part of the new high school. So that's a whole balance. We're trying to start a brand new alumni association for our newer high school. There's a lot of moving parts and bits and pieces that we're dealing with. So I think that makes us unique, but I'm sure it's challenges that are seen everywhere.
Yeah. And you're, not far from Cleveland. So
yes.
You've got kind of a close proximity there.
Yeah, so that's a whole other thing. So the Cleveland Browns headquarters, it is actually in Berea City Schools. It's in Berea. So then, the whole thing, they are looking to move from the city of Cleveland and build a new dome in the city of Brook Park. So that is also in our school district. So we're going to have an NFL team in our school district. And that's actually awesome just for the opportunities that provides. Just having players come to our schools. They're building a practice facility that it is going to become our high school's main football stadium. So that's awesome too.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty exciting. It's nice to get some upgrades. Also, NFL team in your backyard is kind of fun.
And I'm there should be a Berea City Schools Loge, but that's maybe a little unethical, but
Well, I mean, I don't know.
It's all for PBIS.
Yeah. I mean, there should be some benefits, right?
A little bit.
That's awesome. If nothing else, having some NFL players come give some talks at the school will be a little bit closer. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. So when you look at changes, obviously a lot of changes to your school district, you've got some great things happening there. As I see you present around the country, there's a lot of things you're talking about and presenting about, but I also want to get through. You've taken some leadership roles. This next year, you're going to be you're currently the incoming president for Ohio for OHSPRA, correct?
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
president-elect right now. I transition. It's been a 2-year term, so I transitioned to president in June of next year.
Okay, fantastic. And but you've already been leading a bunch on a national level. We've been seeing you around and making a lot of connections. It's fun to see at NSPRA and a lot of those interactions. Tell me a little bit about what that's meant for you being connected with so many school PR folks.
I think I love being able to just brainstorm with other people, get ideas from other people, connect with other people, just share what I'm doing in my district, learn from others. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, I like to connect with people where I see they're doing great things. And then, like, how can I learn from them? How can I, make myself better just by knowing other people, seeing what they're doing in their district? Like, so many school PR people have such great ideas. And I like being in that community of just sharing them and creating new ways just to improve what we do day to day.
Well, you've worn a lot of what you've been doing this last year on your sleeve, and I've noticed you posting, but I've also had some times to connect with you about health challenges and travel and all of that stuff. Thanks for sharing some encouragement with folks. It's not all easy, and I think sometimes in school PR we sort of like set ourselves over to the side because there's so many big fires to fight. But I appreciate you sharing that part of yourself with us.
Yeah, I've had some health challenges. 2025, I think, like, from the middle of 2025 till now, there's a lot of unknowns just with my health challenges still. Things are improving, I guess. Like, we're still figuring things out with some doctors. But for the most part, feeling okay. And I just, I have to still smile. I have to still laugh. I have a job. I have responsibilities. So as long as I'm, like, physically able to do them, I'm going to keep doing them. I try to just stay positive. Like, I have to. Like, there's no other choice than to stay positive.
Well, Cristina, I just want you to know that that's an encouragement to all of us too. Like that's an encouragement for us to see the way you've fought and battled and been an encouragement to folks in the midst of all of that. That's huge. And so thank you for doing that. I think so often in school PR, we sort of set ourselves aside and because there's kids challenged with things and but everybody's got something going on.
Right. It could always be worse.
Right. So no, thank you for sharing some of that. And, I want to talk to you about what you've been doing professionally because, also super inspiring. And I love seeing people trying new things. And so one of the things that's been overwhelming, is the aspect of AI. And I want to ask you about what you've been doing with AI and how is that starting to impact your role as a school communicator? Like what are you using it for and how are you doing that?
I use it for everything. Like, I almost hate that question. Like, how do you use AI? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And it almost, like, stumps me because I truly do almost use it for everything. There's always a way to use it. It's just the way it makes you think when you're using it. I would just say, and I always am I don't consider myself an expert whatsoever. I just I like to learn about it. I like to read about it. I like to see how other people are using it. I like to look at how other industries are using it, not just school PR. One of the things I've gone 2 years in a row now, it's a marketing artificial intelligence conference. It's actually from a company that's based in Cleveland. So they take pity on me and they actually, I do a little bit of volunteering for them and they let me attend it for free. So it's the greatest thing ever. And I think that's where, basically anyone who's speaking at that conference, big and immediate follow. I just learned so much from other industries. Like we have people doing great things in school PR with it. But I just, those other industries like B2B, B2C, just marketing professionals, that's where I get all my ideas from and my inspiration.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, my wife's a college professor, and so she has a custom GPT that she built for her students, right? So that she's like, you know how it is. Like you ask your college professor really stupid questions, and you ask them late at night, and you know a lot of those questions can be answered quickly. And so she's like, I just kept throwing them into a GPT, and now she's like, my students ask that GPT, and I get a lot less dumb questions. Probably the funniest one it put in there was like, hey, if you need to ask your professor this, here's how to craft an email. So it helps them craft an email to her so that it's understandable. And so she's essentially educating them by saying, hey, use this, right? This is what the real world's going to look like. So
yeah, so someone I met at that conference was telling me about his custom GPT that he made, like to come to this conference. Like he left his kids behind with his in-laws, and he said he created a custom GPT with any questions you could possibly think of, like with the kids' schedules, with like food, what to do if they're being crabby. Like he built a custom GPT so the people watching his children didn't have to bother him because he was in a totally different time zone. Like just the things people are doing, like you just can't believe some of the things people are doing.
I love that so much. I may steal that one. I definitely have done some of that. Well, we have the conversation at our house regularly of like, how did parents do this before ChatGPT, and how did this happen? So I definitely use it for a ton of those types of things. How are you using it when you think of roles of school comps? I think the first thing we oftentimes think of is like, oh, hey, I got to go write a press release. And that was probably one of my early things, was like, hey, I needed to write something. Like, can it understand, some of that's so formulaic, right? It's like, hey, here's a press release. Like I can make that happen pretty easily with Gemini or ChatGPT. What types of things are you using with it lately that have surprised you?
So I think that everybody starts with like just writing and things like that. But then I use it a ton for just like data analysis, especially for surveys, for even like I don't even know if I have it near me. We just had our superintendent student advisory council meeting this morning, and we had the kids like do some feedback, like just on a piece of paper. Took that whole stack of papers, scanned it, sent it to myself. I'm going to have AI analyze it, get like common themes, get all the feedback, get it all summarized. Like it saves so much time. I do it with we have a withdrawal survey. Anytime a family withdraws their student, we can analyze that. We are actually doing a food drive. We had families fill that out. We gave them a list of items they might need. So now we have that, survey is closed, take it, put in AI. We know exactly how many canned goods to buy. We know how much toothpaste, how much toilet paper, like everything. It gives us a shopping list, like all that kind of stuff that it's just saves so much time. All that kind of stuff you used to do kind of manually before. I love the data analysis. So I use that all the time. I've been experimenting with agents a bit. So even to create that form, I first went and had AI help me kind of like, okay, here's the situation. You give it the context, like we're doing this food drive. Here's the non-perishable items we're going to let them choose from. Here's the household items. Can you just outline a form for me? So it did, all the things we might need to collect. So then I took that, enabled agent mode, ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Then it had signed into a Google account, not my work account, side account, because I'm like terrified of it being in my actual work account. I got trust issues.
Fair.
So, but you can watch the ChatGPT agent create the form, go through all of its thinking. Like, it's supposed to save me time, but occasionally I will watch it. I'm like, this is incredible. So I finished the whole form. Then I just branded it, with our logo and everything, and sent it out. It's so always just finding little ways to save time, have it do things for me. It's amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah. So when I think about things like I wouldn't have thought of it a few years ago to help me with things like, recognizing a food list or stuff like
Yeah.
that. But I just pulled up, that's the inside of my fridge
Yes.
right now. And it has a camera in there and it creates shopping lists for me.
Yep.
And I'm like, just a few years ago, we were saying, why would my fridge need Wi-Fi? And now there's a camera in my fridge that gives me an inventory of what's in there. And I'm thinking,
Meanwhile, I saw someone complaining. They're like, these fridges these days with their Wi-Fi last like 2 years. My parents had a fridge that lasted 30 years. So
yeah. I don't know if this one will ever make the garage fridge route, but yes, it's wild to see like how fast that stuff's moving, and now we're thinking like, hey, there's so much assembly of content, and I think in schools in general, right? Like not even just in a comms role, there's so many things that we need. Neutrality is one of those areas where I found it to be super helpful in just helping me be more neutral or a different perspective. Help me think in different perspectives. So I think that's definitely an area where, we just as humans struggle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Robots are pretty good at that.
Yeah.
So you're using it a bunch for data. Where do you see it going? Where do you see it changing the role of school comms? Do you feel like it's changing your job?
It is. I think it's definitely helping me feel like it's not just all on me. Like, I'm a department of one. I feel like I do have like a colleague I can brainstorm with all day long, back and forth. It's just, I see it as a tool for thinking, like not a shortcut.
Right.
So I really am always challenging the output. I'm always giving it as much context as possible. I like to talk to it because you end up providing more information. It really helps me brainstorm. And I think as far as school comms, I think a piece that's kind of going to be our responsibility or it's kind of missing is that parent education. Just as far like the more we're adapting it in our schools, the more teachers are using it. We need to be the ones who are helping to form the message and sharing just how it is being integrated in the classroom. Even I think just yesterday, it was ChatGPT for Teachers came out. So things like that, people there, and there's some people who hate AI. We posted something about our PD day on social media. Next thing I know, the district gets a Google review, 1 star, and the username is FAI. So there are people out there that don't even like it that we are integrating it in our district.
Yeah. It's changing a lot of jobs, right? And I think because it was so useful at writing is probably one of the easier things to understand. It's kind of one of those areas in school PR where I feel like, the first thing everybody says is, well, I bet it's a lot easier for your school PR jobs, right? And you're like, well, it probably also means that we have to do more, right?
Right.
And I think that's where things get hard, and we have to be able to advocate for, hey, here's how the humans are controlling AI and providing it the correct context and the correct feedback, and we're using it responsibly.
Yeah, I would say especially with school comms, at the end of the day, like you are still accountable for what you put out there. Like if you're using AI to help you draft that message, your name, your reputation, your district's reputation, that's who is accountable. That's who is attached to that. It's not AI. You put something out there, like you can't get ChatGPT in trouble. Like that's your credibility. That is your name. So you always kind of keep that in the back of your mind. You're like, don't just outsource that, copy and paste. Like you always need to, it needs to be you. It can't be AI.
Yeah. We used to, we used to have these sites about autocorrect fails, right? And now we're having the same reaction to AI. And I think it's creating this weird dynamic where people are kind of angry at the AI rather than like I want to know that a person looked at this, that they
Right.
cared enough. And so it's creating different types of content. It's creating we're sort of creating content that looks like it wasn't made with AI, even if AI helped us brainstorm it and create it.
Yeah, it's definitely a balance. Like you even see like newspapers accidentally publishing articles that has like the question, would you like me to frame this, so in
Yeah.
another way or whatnot. So that's happening. And I'm sure people have accidentally, or even, people have like sent emails that have those extra things like, well, here's a new version written this way. Like, and they accidentally cut and paste that. Like, just what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously we've got responsibility challenges to do that. What other advice would you have for school comms folks as they're trying to expand? Because again, I do believe you're an early adopter. You're using it in some really responsible ways, and you're doing some innovative things with it. Even though you don't say you're the expert of it, that's fine.
I just like to keep trying different things. And,
Yeah.
like people, like colleagues have told me, like, your brain just thinks differently with it. And I can't even tell you how many times I've like stood over the shoulder of a colleague and be like, no, like prompt it this way, say this, type this instead. So I don't know, like, it's just, I use AI kind of the same way I kind of just think in general. Like I'm always curious, like a little bit skeptical, a little chaotic, a lot of things going on. So I think that's the way you also have to approach AI. Like you have to be curious. You have to see, just testing different ways, always challenging the output, like never accepting what it gives you, like asking it follow-up questions or telling it to ask you questions until it has like the proper amount of information it might need. So just always skeptical, like even when it gives you something like it's wrong, it hallucinates, like I've experienced in that.
Sure.
And then, nothing about working with AI is linear. So that's where like the chaos kind of comes in, so it's always just, I test different tools, Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, I use them all, like, and even Grok here and there.
Yeah.
I'll go in. I'll go in and just, you got to see what it gives you.
Feeling frisky.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You got to see what the different things it can do. Like even yesterday, you have the new Nano Banana Pro playing with that. I'm just like, slow down. Like there's just too many different things happening. Like it just keeps changing and keeps getting better and better.
Yeah.
And I just try to keep up with it as much as possible.
Yeah. Do you feel like, I think there's a mentality when I look at my team members, some of the ones that are really good at it, they're really direct, right? So you have to be really direct with it. Like, stop doing this, right? Do this differently, right? And you kind of have to be just bossy and direct, right? Like I feel like those couple of characteristics, you just have to have that mentality that you're like, stop that. Like
a little bit, or just be like, no, that's not what I asked. I'm asking this. Like you have it all wrong.
Yeah. I feel like there's a little bit of that personality wise that you referenced, like you think that way, but there's a little bit of that personality too. That's just like I'm not going to sit around and sort of hope you get the better answer. Like I'm going to tell you when you don't have enough context and when you need to fix this. Right.
There is, if you tell it, like rate your own output, like on a scale of 1 to 10, and maybe it says it's an 8, and then you want to be like, no, I think it was a 5, and here's why. So then you're kind of training the model to like learn more about your communication and what you value. So that's, another, and that's actually improved as the models have evolved, like asking it to rate its output. That's actually gotten better. So, and that's again, something I've learned just from like following other people, like just reading things on LinkedIn, reading articles, listening to podcasts, like that all the time.
Yeah. Well, I love your commitment to learning and to challenging things and getting new things done. I think the school PR community, we all need more of that. We need more people trying new things, testing new things. I certainly get that chance to work with a lot of developers who do that, and it's a lot of fun to see. So super encouraged by what you're doing, what the school district in Berea is doing. Now I want to come out and see a Browns game. So we're going
not this season.
Okay, well, next year. It's not, the stadium's not done yet.
Right. But it would still be a good time.
It'll still be a good time. Let me know when you come across tickets in your school district when they get that moved.
This past weekend, $6.
$6 for a ticket.
We're that bad.
Wow!
You can bring your whole friends. We can have a whole conference here. It'd be the cheapest conference ever.
It's time to just build a new stadium, right? That's the easy answer. Nice. Well, Cristina, it's a lot of fun. Thanks for all that you're doing for Berea, and excited to see everything change and for us to continue jamming on some new AI solutions.
Can't wait to see what's next.
Thanks, Cristina.
Thanks, Ben.